So if there are specific features also in the future you would like these deep dive session you're always welcome to reach out and we can find it out and so you also get something out of it. And looking a bit on the agenda for the fast-minded can see we have actually moved it around a bit, or you will experience we have moved it around a bit. You'll still get the introduction, but then we will dig deeper into the configurations. And when we have explained the configurations, that's when my dear colleague Hubert will also go further into actually showing a demo in the front end. But we will do the configuration first and then the demo, and then we will open up the mics in the end. So when Hubert is in the end of his demo, I will open the mics and everybody is more than welcome to ask questions for the solution or any other specific topics. Now I've mentioned him briefly. I've brought on my good colleague Hubert Jasko, who is a senior expert and has been highly involved in not only implementing this solution at customers, but also the development of it. And with these words, I'll actually hand this session over to Hubert, who will take you through the configuration and demo.
Thanks, Lasse, and welcome everyone. We're happy to present this sourcing solution for you, a new way of handling purchasing info records in GLASSWING. Yeah, let's dive into it, and then hopefully you'll have some questions at the end, and we can talk about how possibly it could fit your solution. Maybe you're currently using purchasing info records with GLASSWING. Maybe you're not. Maybe this is what you have been waiting for. Just want to start. This has been one of our focus points. So it's a solution we're proud of and we're happy to implement. And yeah, I'll just get to it. We'll start with the drivers of the development. And well, the main one is of course what you as the customers need, what you request, and also what we see could benefit the solutions that you have implemented using GLASSWING. So we split it into the technical drivers and the business drivers. So of course, material and info records are separate objects in the old way of handling via GLASSWING. And what we wanted to do, as they are highly connected, we wanted to keep them together. Why it's good to do it from the technical point of view is that instead of being an individual object, now the info records and source list as well are embedded directly into a material object in GLASSWING frontend. And that allows us to keep the updates together and make sure that these objects are even more connected with dependencies and rules and all the features that you know from GLASSWING. So the business drivers are that you can, in certain processes, secure that material will not be released without a purchasing info record and source list. Then, as you have already created a material with an info record and you maintain it, you can do multiple info records, and then you can have them together in one place. So your point of reference as a user would be to go into the material, and then you can see how many info records there are. Maybe there's some that are that should be inactive, some that should be reopened. So as you maintain your material, as you even close down or open info records, you can make dependencies to your material so that you keep it aligned and up to date. It's also much easier to maintain with when it comes to dependencies, and I'll get to that in a second. One important thing before I get to configurations is that this solution is available for the SAP versions that you see on the left side, and also GLASSWING on S4 and ECC, on S4 from version 3.5.0, and on ECC from 7.2.0. So to activate the solution, the update would be required. And the version that you will see today is version for S4HANA. The solution varies a little bit when it comes to ECC and S4 due to technical limitations and update methods that are available. So configuration. This is just to show you that if you decide to go for info records in that solution, it's very easy to activate it and use it right away. So if we go through some of our configuration tables, you can see that to start configuring, you just need to activate a business function switch, and then you have a function activation, a body act called sourcing tab, and then you have to just add a couple of configuration tables, or simply use ready-to-go package for maintain and SPRO configuration, because we have a couple more configuration tables where we control the sourcing solution. So how can we control it? We have this table now called sourcing control. What we can do is we can decide for which material types, which locations you want that solution to be active. So if we look here, you can see that we have it, for example, active for raw materials in selected locations. And we can also set up whether you are using info records with a plant or just on the purchase organization. We can sort priorities so that you could make for all materials, and then just use your sorting so that you don't have to specify every single thing. And yes, you can decide whether you want to have sourcing, source list relevant for it as well. Once you maintain that, it will drive where you can use it. Some of the prerequisites then to have it active is that you have to add a purchase organization to your current location profiles. So you can do it twofold. You can either create a new location profile or location that would handle info records, the sourcing tab for your materials, or you can simply enhance your current locations with a purchase organization, and then that purchase organization will be assigned for the info record. So one location, one purchase organization. If you want to create multiple purchasing organizations, then you extend the object with the material. Field setup. So for the ones who are using purchasing info records right now with GLASSWING, you would have an object type called info record. Well, with this solution, we don't do that anymore. Everything is configured on material object. We also have a couple of additional fields, whether it's relevant for purchasing info record, a tick mark, and some smart additional fields for net price and vendor that I will show you in the demo. When it comes to the configuration, if it's a local field or global, that depends on which structure it is. So if it's global purchasing record data, you have it N, and local, so PO dependent, Y, and same for this is a source list structure. And where to display is R, so that if you configure these fields, they will be on the sourcing tab. Yep. Just a note that is important to remember. This is how field definitions need to be set up with field update, as the update method can be different from the technical field name. It comes in our ready-to-go package right now. the newest so that you will have those fields available to you so we can provide these. Finally, you need to set up a sourcing tab. So on your material, you will see it as a separate tab, similarly as you see MRP areas, inspection types, and so on. You can also assign, of course, ownership to the tab. Now, a bit more of a fun table. So dependent values or maintained value. Right now, you can, of course, build rules for those fields there. You can default certain entries using standard rules. But what we have done is we created a wide range of function modules that come together with the GLASSWING upgrade. So a lot of the logic for sourcing data on purchase info record can be related to your material master data or your supplier data. So with these functional modules, that's exactly what we do. We look into the connecting objects and we source the information. With the S4M values table, a neat thing is that we have these attributes. So we created, for example, here, default functional module that allows you to select information from supplier or from material. So if you, for example, here the confidence control, if you would like to source this from vendor, you just have this generic function module, and then you just take a value from your supplier field that you assign here. So that's when you just want to carry over a value. And for some other fields, we have specific ones, like for units, that is dependent on alternative units of measure and so on. So just so you know, it is much easier now and can be automated really fast. As before, you only had the option to sort of pass a value from material to your info record request, and otherwise, you couldn't really manipulate it, whether it should be default or not, and so on. We have some field checks, of course, so that's just one more entry into the table to make sure that everything is validated. We're checking that you're not creating info records in combinations that should not be allowed, let's say. And of course, search helps as well. And just one more thing, text. Long texts are also there, together with segmentation. So you can group your fields however you prefer, just as you know, with the current versions, you are able to make the different columns with different headers, subheaders, and so on. So that's all on the sourcing tab. So now you know how to configure it. I went through a few tables, but a lot of it can be set up really, really fast. So enough talking. Let's take a look at it. So in this scenario, let's say that I'm a user who receives already an existing workflow for an incomplete material in ownership SCM. I get my request in my inbox, and I have to continue creating the material. So for this material, we have the sourcing tab in here. And I first maintain profiles, and then I will be guided to go to the sourcing tab. So depending what I select in the sourcing, we can make a lot of dependencies, right? So if what we see a lot is, for example, for intercompany, that's very useful, where you have your internal suppliers and you can automate it quite a lot. So for example, if I source it from another plant, it will automatically define a vendor for me here. So we created these additional fields in the section to the right. And that means that we can put already a supplier here, we can put the net price here. So in some cases, it's not even needed to go to the sourcing tab, right? We have high level of automation that you can maintain it from the local tab. Yeah. But in this scenario, I just wanted to add the vendor here. Of course, you could select it manually if you have a different combination. And then if I would go to the sourcing tab, I would already have an entry here. So I'll just spend a moment to introduce you to this view. So the table up top gives you a list of the purchasing info records assigned to this particular material in this purchase organization, and in this case, in this plant. If you select to do it without a plant relation, you would only have the purchase org that is assigned to your location. I would tell you that this is not complete, and we can see below the tabs where I have to maintain something. So a lot of the values are already carried over from the vendor. So we have the telephone number, we have country of origin, we have units taken from the material. So I just have to maintain the local data. Well, here I can select purchasing info record category. So of course you can default it, but I wanted just to show you that in comparison to maybe the classic solution where you would set it up in the SAP type, here you can actually select it based on your need. If your automation doesn't allow for it, or if you have a more, let's say, custom setup. After that, all I need to do is put net price, and I'll get a green light here. So that is if I want to create a simple connection with one purchasing info record. But what I can also do is simply click new, and then I can add a second info record. So if you have dual sourcing, you will have your maybe internal supplier and then one external, two external for suppliers. So if I add a vendor here, that will then source specific information from it. And same way, I just maintain the mandatory fields. As you can see, you can group those fields in how you see fit. And at the very bottom, we have the source list area. So if you want to have source list with your material and your info record, all you have to do is click generate records. It will create a line for each of the suppliers. It will give you information that, of course, you have to set a end date. So here, let's say it's the end of the year for both of them. And from here, you can control all the entries that you know from source list. So if you want to have the record relevant to MRP, you select it here, and so on. So now you have everything in one view: creation of materials, purchasing info record, and source list. Let's create it. Now I will, after creation, I'll go to change mode, because a lot of the dependencies we have seen is also not only during creation. Of course, it's very beneficial to automate the creation of purchasing info records, making sure they're there. But a lot of the times the complications appear when you have to maintain it, when you change the status of your material, for example, and then you also want to close down purchasing info records. So in that case, we can make those dependencies. So you can control a profile on your material status, and then it would give you information that, well, you have to have at least one active info record, for example, if here just are in the design, and then once you want to release with the status, it might work that only then you will need an info record, right? So we can control when this tab is mandatory based on different dependencies, based on, for example, how you control that local field for a supplier. So we can set when you need it. And then, yeah, if you want to manage your material and anything related to it, you just go here. You don't jump between different objects. And let's say you review your info records where you source it from, and if you want to close it, you will just mark it with a deletion flag, and it will show here. So it will show you the info records that are marked for deletion, the ones that are used, the ones that are not, and there's no need for any activation. So you don't have to upload a table of any sort to link those objects to GLASSWING. We read it directly based on the info records that are assigned to the material. So if you have been maintaining your info records for a long time, there's nothing that you will have to do to, okay, I want to actually have these info records and these info records in the solution. It will just be read automatically in change mode, ready for maintenance. All right. A bit of what happens in the background. So you will, of course, have search request. And in search request, we have new update tables. So you will have your 2 new request tables for INA and INA. And then here you can get the overview of your info records, of your updates, and a direct link to the purchasing info records that you created. They will already have the number here, just as they have the number here after creation. So yeah, we can see this material was created with these 2 info records. Everything is here. We got the condition, we got everything. And that is the main demo that we wanted to show you. Of course, if you want to see more, we can show it now as we will move to questions. Lasse, can you open up mic?
Yeah. So hopefully all mics should now be open or allowed to be open. So if you have any questions, and I see a hand from Bruno, go ahead, Bruno.
Hi, Howard.
Hi, Bruno. Good to hear you.
Yeah, long time not seen. One question. All existing info records and source lists that are in the system, will GLASSWING automatically know these, or do you need to do a kind of light load?
It will know these, yeah.
It will find these and know these.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, we do not do any request OBJ link to the info records, nothing like that. It just finds it based on the link to the material.
If no one has raised yet, then I will do my next question.
Go on.
So if you have dual sourcing or single sourcing, that means multiple info records. Would GLASSWING know that in a way that you can build it to or use it to build rules upon? What I have in mind is, you should know it, Hubert, at Danfoss we have some automation for populating country of origin for materials which we manufacture on our own. But if we get GLASSWING also to control our info records and source list, then it would also know if it is multi or single sourced. And thereby, if it's single sourced, we could populate the country of origin to the locations where the materials get extended to.
So I believe we could make a parameter that would mark it as a multi-sourcing, right? So, and then build rules based on that parameter.
The parameter, will that be then automated as soon as you have several info records, or would it be a manual set?
Right now in the standard, we don't have them to mark it as multi, so we don't have that parameter, but I can see it. We'll definitely note it as a suggestion. That's a good point, but it would be an additional field that we could set based on if you have more than one active line, then this is multi-sourcing. I don't see why that wouldn't work.
Okay, super. Thanks. That was all from me.
Yeah, thanks.
Anyone else?
As I mentioned, we created a lot of these standard module based on input. And yeah, if you have exactly input like this, then we would like to add it to our solution, of course.
JK here.
Yeah, hi JK.
So do we also have incomplete requests as like in Metal Master? So if we don't know any such information, for example, net price, can we save the record and we can also do it from incomplete request?
Yes, I'll jump right in here, back to the system. So for example, if let's say that was a new creation, then you have an incomplete on this tab, and then you have your ownership to the fields on the sourcing tab. So the same way you create a workflow in incomplete as for manual maintenance. So you will have a parameter that for these particular materials, we want to have an info record. It will just prompt you to the workflow on the sourcing tab.
So we also need to maintain same way as OOC RESP.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
If you assign it, if you add it, and it's the same ownership that you already have, then they will get it, get the workflow because it's for material
on the
right?
basic.
So
Basic.
Exactly. So if you already have a workflow agents for a material object, and you will just say this group now should also receive the sourcing tab, then they will do it. And you don't have to
so
a new set for info record. It's only if you add a new ownership. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah.
Anyone else? No. Let's sum it up.
I will add that, of course, if you already have your license for info record, then you are welcome to start using this solution and substitute the old one, or if you haven't had it. Otherwise, whoever has any more questions, and if you have questions about the ECC version, especially, which is a little bit different, then we will gladly answer that, or meet up to see how that could fit here. The main difference is that the update method is different. It's still via IDOCS because in ECC we simply don't have the technology available to do the updates the same way. But we have implemented it in ECC area and used it successfully. Okay, well, in that case, to sum up, we have 3 key takeaways. It is a single point of reference for materials and purchasing info records and source lists as well as an adjoining object. We have better automation capabilities with specific function modules and field-to-field rules so that you can make more dependencies and most of all go through many different scenarios like that, because automation is great, but I think in this solution you're much more flexible with your exceptions. So you can still have a workflow, and as JKS, you can just enter it manually. If you are not able to create those dependencies and automations, it is still a great place to maintain it from the scratch. And yeah, we have multiple purchasing info records with source list in the front end. So everything is in the front end, all your purchasing info records, your source list, and you can maintain it from there. Yeah. In all the info types as well.
And on that note, thank you for your time. Thank you for your participation and with the questions. If you want to have the recording afterwards, please reach out. If you have wishes for future deep dive sessions as well, reach out. You can do it to your primary consultant at your place, or you're always allowed to reach out to Lars Köhler as well. And we will do our best to assist you both with configurations, videos, and whatever you could imagine. So thank you for your time and have a really, really good afternoon.
The recordings will be shared, right?
I'll make sure of that.
Yeah, thank you.